Hi, my name is Alexi Page, and in this video, I will be covering my research over designing for learning impaired students. Schools can be mentally exhausting for people with learning disabilities of any age. Most schools have not been designed with the consideration of people with learning disabilities such as anxiety, ADHD, and autism. Designing a space for students to go after school could positively affect their learning experience. Such space can give students a safe environment to come not only for their education, but for their overall well-being and improve their social and learning experiences. The research included peer-reviewed articles that discussed how different environments affect users with learning disabilities. The findings showed a lot of common design considerations, such as implementing nature, natural lighting, and a space that is easily customizable for every user. Information was also gathered from interviews from students with learning disabilities and a nursing student who has witnessed how poor design considerations negatively affected people with anxiety, depression, and other impairments. These design considerations can be developed from the usage of adjustable lighting, calming and stimulating colors, modular furniture, and materials for an effective facility for learning impaired students. This project will summarize the findings from the peer-reviewed articles and will provide design suggestions and visuals for a learning facility for learning impaired students outside of Portland, Oregon. Children with ASD usually struggle in a typical school setting. The buzzing of fluorescent lights, other students talking in rooms that aren't acoustically sound, uncomfortable chairs, and little to no quiet areas can create an overstimulated environment. Although most students with ASD are smarter than their peers, the number of these students that actually attend college and choose to stay in school are low. Only 39 students with ASD graduate with a college degree. This is because not only are they struggling in their environments, programs for ASD students are slim to none at some colleges. ADHD and anxiety can create learning issues in students as well. This study's purpose is to use the findings from the research to visually show the impact of a learning facility that is catered to students with learning impairments. The design considerations that are being covered will effectively show how a space for learning impaired students could be laid out to help with the learning experience for each student. By taking into consideration children with impairments, this would help the future design of not just separate facilities, but also incorporating these design considerations for public and private schools to help every student get the most out of their primary school years and push them to be successful in higher education. My methods included cross-disciplinary literature reviews that include information over biophilia, ASD, ADHD, anxiety, education, hospitals, and museums. These peer-reviewed articles were found on JustStore. Interviews of 2 college students that struggle with anxiety and ADHD, as well as a nursing student who works with patients of various impairments. My research questions included: what design considerations can be used to provide an environment that is comfortable, empowering, and fun for students with learning impairments? How does a space affect a student with ASD, ADHD, and/or anxiety? How can designers incorporate spaces that are accessible and easy to use for people of all ages and backgrounds? My research problem was that typical American schools are built for neurotypical students and rarely provide a comfortable environment for students with learning disabilities. In return, these students don't get an inclusive and quality learning experience. The findings from my peer-reviewed articles included: open space planned studio classes can sometimes create acoustical problems to certain students and can create more stress, anger, and anxiety due to the reverberations in the space, and it makes the students distracted. Sensory experiences are different for each student and can be difficult to find solutions for each individual learning experience. Classrooms that allowed students to get up and move around can create a better learning experience for students. Spaces that allow not only patients, but also the faculty ways to express themselves artistically benefits the mental health of everyone. Incorporating physical activity, sensory activities, and the actual layout of the building can really impact how a child with a learning disability learns and experiences an educational environment. Using colors and movement helps students retain information. Incorporating gardens and nature into hospitals improves the health of not only the patients, but also to the staff working in these facilities. Findings from interviews with 2 college students and a nursing student included: when there's not enough natural lighting, it makes one student feel like they're in a box. They also said that bold and bright colors in a classroom make them feel overstimulated and would prefer neutral colors in a classroom. A place with background noise of any kind, whether it just be talking, music, or any sorts of other background noise, is best for the other student. Also, a place with bright colors. This student stated that spaces like that help them stay stimulated and awake. If it's a quiet place that feels dull to them, they won't want to do anything. This student compared their preference to a coffee shop setting. The nursing student stated that having monochrome walls throughout a whole space makes things seem like they're blending together. Long hallways without a centralized nurse unit don't seem effective. U-shaped and O-shaped units provide a better layout and help with wayfinding. Adjustable lights would help not only patients, but throughout the hospital to help with everyone's circadian rhythm and energy. In these 3 pictures, you can see my inspiration photos and what I am inspired to design my facility like. In this first inspiration photo, this effectively shows how designing an open collaborative space could be developed. There are spaces where students can lounge, read, as well as spaces that provide a sense of privacy without being isolated from other students. This can provide somewhat of a coffee shop setting and comfortable modular seating for everyone, as well as natural lighting and neutral colors. The picture above in the second picture represents of what an outdoor learning space could look like to give students an escape from typical classrooms and have an outdoor stimulus for a different and new environment to learn, meditate, and socialize. In the third picture, classrooms like this give an idea on how private classrooms could be designed to give a student a quiet yet collaborative space for students to receive group or one-on-one learning. This provides various ways to visualize and learn. As you can see, some of the walls are whiteboard, which help children visualize and learn if they are more visual learners, as well as comfortable seating, as well as modular seating and tables, and bright colors as well to keep the students stimulated. These are my bubble diagrams, and shown in these diagrams is how high traffic versus low traffic spaces are going to be laid out in the space. Also shown is the adjacencies of each space to explain the layout of the space. Medium to low traffic areas are going to be in close adjacency to each other and separate from the highest traffic areas to provide a quiet space for children in private or enclosed areas. Admin spaces will be in close conjunction to both high and low traffic areas to be accessible to each student. In bubble diagram 1, you can see that the thick arrows indicate high traffic, the dotted lines indicate medium traffic, and the dashed lines indicate low traffic. In bubble diagram 2, you can see where I indicated significant adjacencies to more close adjacency areas. The dotted lines indicated close adjacencies. The squiggly arrows indicated nearby and small adjacencies, as well as indicating where entrances and natural light would be provided. These are my first two blocking diagrams, and in the first one, you can see that the design considerations, such as separating the public and private areas to an extent, but could definitely be improved. And the classroom to the far left was separated from the other private areas and looked out of place. These blocking diagrams were also color-coded from hallways, public areas, semi-private areas, and private areas, as well as indicating open areas and entries. The second blocking diagram was an improvement from the first one. The lobby was moved to the west side of the building where that other classroom was previously, and gave more room for private classrooms on the other side. However, there was a lot of unnecessary corridors and hallways that could be reduced. My third and final blocking diagram was the one that was chosen. This was because this effectively separated the high traffic and low traffic areas, provided entry to the outdoor area from each side, as well as a central space for the staff areas. Having the outdoor space in the central of the plan helps the incorporation of nature and natural light for most of the spaces in the building. There is only one main hallway that connects each space and provides simple wayfinding for the users of the building. You can see in this one as well that I indicated the public, semi-private, and private areas and how well they were separated from each other, as well as the admin spaces centralized to the open classrooms, private classrooms, and the lobby. These are my references. Thank you for listening.